Hello my friends, in this video we'll be taking a look at the autosomal DNA results, predicted phenotype, traits, and even GED match results of an Anatolian Turk from the Beylik era. The sample name is I20323, and let's get into this sample. So it is a female sample, and it does not have a Y DNA. When it comes to its mitochondrial lineage, let me prepare that for you right now. Hold on. There it is. Her mitochondrial haplogroup is done. It is K1B1C. That doesn't really tell me much. I don't know I'm not an expert on mitochondrial lineages, but I looked it up on the heat map, YSEC heat map finder, and it looks like a West Asian lineage. It is found also in Europe at a pretty high frequency. It's found in Bulgaria and Romania. I see it's also found at a pretty high frequency in Slovakia and southern Poland. Maybe I think it might be Jewish community in Slovakia. I suspect it might be the Jewish community there. It's also found in the European region of Caucasus in Russia. Interestingly, it is found in Azerbaijan, in Armenia, in the Azerbaijani region of like Iran and the northwest of Iran, where a lot of Azerbaijani people live as well. Very very interesting. Surprising that it is also found in Egypt, in the north of Egypt. Very very interesting mitochondrial lineage. So it looks like a very like Middle Eastern or West Asian mitochondrial lineage. In terms of the time period, and I know I'm gonna get clowned on so hard because like I don't know anything about Turkish history, but from what I understand, from what I've read, like basically on Wikipedia, and from what I've managed to piece together, this person is essentially a Seljuk. Like she's a little bit earlier, and she is not an Ottoman, so she predates Ottomans in terms of time period. So she's a Seljuk Turk. Let me know if I'm essentially correct in what I'm saying right now in the comments. But that's how I'm understanding the situation. Um, Anyway, let's move on to what she scores with GED match and what she scores with my own trait predictor. So for ethnicity, we're gonna start with the Originating 13 from GED match. She's quite exotic actually for a Turk. She's scoring a lot of really exotic stuff. She's scoring 22.29% West Asian. That's kind of low for a Turkish person. A lot of East Mediterranean, but 14.40% Siberian. That's very high for somebody from Turkey. A lot of Siberian admixture, a lot of North Atlantic and Baltic admixture. Once again, 10.2% North Atlantic and 8% Baltic. That's very, very high for somebody from Turkey. A lot of Northern European admixture. 6.8% East Asian. That's a lot of East Asian admixture. Overall, this person is just very East Asian and very European for somebody from Turkey. And because of these exotic like admixtures, they're scoring some exotic groups in the Oracle. So, for example, for the mixed mode, they're actually getting modeled as a mixture of Afghan Turkmen plus South Italian. 60% Afghan Turkmen plus 40% South Italian. Very, very interesting Oracle for sure. So, the closest mixture is actually a mixture of 60% Turkmen plus 40% South Italian. Definitely quite shifted towards Central Asia relative to Turks. Very interesting. There's also models such as line number 5, 75% Nagai plus 25% Tunisian. There's line 6, which is 75% Nagai plus 25% Algerian, 75% Nagai plus 25% Moroccan, 70% Nagai plus 29% Algerian Jew, 75% Nagai plus 25% Mozabite Berber. So basically, looks like this individual is a mixture of something Central Asian plus something Middle Eastern. That's what it looks like with these oracles, with Eugene's K13. Definitely very interesting. Actually, the closest population with this calculator to this individual is Nagai. Definitely very surprising. That's not going to be the case with G25 because the Nagai reference with Eugene's K13 is not actually Nagai. It's some kind of Caucasian weird mixture. It's not really Nagai. It's not actual Nagai people. It's some kind of Dagestani mixture, Metis population. After that, it's Turkmen, which I do find very believable. After that, it's Afghan Turkmen. And after that, only after that come Turkish people. So this individual is not even all that close to Turkish people. Definitely very, very interesting oracle. And the two population approximation, closest mixture is a mixture of Afghan Turkmen plus Central Greeks, and the second closest mixture is Afghan Turkmen plus South Italians. Very very Central Asian result. So this person has definitely got a lot of Central Asian admixture. For the three-way population approximation, I'm just showing you how much Central Asian admixture this individual is scoring. You can see the closest mixture is a mixture of Kabardine, Algerian Jew, and Kazakh with a three-way mixture. For four-way population approximation, the closest four-way is Adigay, Georgian Jew, Spanish, and Buryat for the four-way. So somebody who's one quarter Asian is essentially the closest mixture to this individual. One quarter Asian. Absolutely crazy. This individual has a lot of Central Asian admixture. Let's try some other calculator. How about we try Harappa World? This might be interesting calculator as well. While that is loading, while Harappa World is loading, we're gonna look at my own ethnicity calculator. We're gonna look at that meanwhile. Let's look at this. So this was done on the basis of 459 SNPs, and with this calculator, he is closest to Assyrians, followed by Hispanics, Latinx, followed by Turkish. Turkish come third closest, followed by Sarmatians from the Urals, followed by Newgrange British Neolithic farmer, followed by Pinarbasi hunter-gatherer from Anatolia, followed by, well, it's sort of within the general range of being correct. It's okay. It's not that terrible. It's okay for 459 SNPs to be generally correct. It's okay. Let's see the two-way models actually. How good is that? The closest two-way models with my calculator is a mixture of Punjabi Jat plus Anatolia and Iron Age, which is a little bit, I would say, off. It's quite off. I'd say it's pretty off. The second closest two-way is a mixture of Hispanic plus Newgrange Neolithic farmer. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty off. The third closest is a mixture of Pinarbasi hunter-gatherer plus Turkish. Yeah, it's also pretty off. The fourth closest is South Asian plus Spanish. Yeah, it's pretty off. So it's really not all that good. It's okay. It's okay. But that's about as good as you can get with such a limited number of SNPs. Let's see what Harappa World has come up with. With Harappa World, we get a result that looks like this. We get 27.2% Caucasian, 14% Northeast European, 12.7% Mediterranean, a lot of Baloch. Actually, not a lot of Baloch. Actually, very little Baloch. Very interesting. But we get a lot of Northeast European, 14% Northeast European, that's a lot. We get 10.3% Northeast Asian, that's a lot of Northeast Asian. We get 9.5% Siberian, that's a lot of Siberian. We get 2.5% Beringian, that's a lot of Beringian as well. Kind of interesting result. And for the mixed mode oracle, we get 50% Uzbek plus 50% Ashkenazi Jew. So half Uzbek, half Ashkenazi Jew is the closest mixture to this individual. Half Uzbek, half Ashkenazi. Very interesting model. The closest group is Turkish from Aydin, followed by Turkmen from Afghanistan, followed by Nagai, followed by Turkmen, followed by Uzbek, followed by Ashkenazi Jew. Interesting. Followed by Ashkenazi, followed by Turkish from Istanbul, followed by Uzbek from Afghanistan, followed by Turk from Kayseri. So with Harappa World, at least we know that the closest group is Turk from Aydin and not some other ethnic group. So at least we know that this individual is indeed a Turk, which is very good to know. Very, very interesting. Now let's see what this individual looks like. Supposedly, this person is supposed to have blue eyes. We're gonna figure out, does this person really have blue eyes? We're gonna figure this out right now. Looks like no, they don't. Looks like they have green eyes instead. The most likely eye color for them is green at 52.6% likelihood. Blue is possible, I guess. It's 8% likelihood, but it's not very likely. In fact, brown is even more likely for them than blue. They definitely don't have darkest brown eyes, so like this type of eye color on the right is definitely not something. They definitely don't have this type of eye color, but most likely they have green eyes. and not blue. For hair color, most likely they have black hair. Most likely have the darker shade of hair. For skin color, most likely they have olive or Mediterranean skin, but light brown skin is also very possible. So it's quite a swarthy, pigmented person just with green eyes, green color eyes, and black hair, and olive or Mediterranean, or maybe even light brown skin tone. For hair texture, looks like this person has curly or wavy or straight hair. This woman, definitely not kinky hair. For coloring related variants found in the file, looks like she has heterozygous gene type for blue eye haplotype 3. No, she has BEH2 and BEH1. One of the variations that contributed to her scoring so low for blue eyes is actually this. She doesn't have any light color variants here, which definitely is unusual for somebody who has BH1 and 2. Also, something that also contributed to her scoring so low for blue eyes is this genotype, all of these genotypes. That also makes it quite impossible to score blue eyes when you have this type of a genotype here. Um, okay, very, very, very interesting. Very interesting stuff. Let's see what she scores for the phenotype oracle. For the phenotype oracle, the closest phenotype to her is this, followed by this, followed by this, and the closest mixtures of phenotypes to her are this. Wow, that's crazy. Those are crazy mixtures. So it looks like she has a little bit of East Asian morphological influences in her phenotypes. I wonder why that is. I feel like actually we can even do some research into that right now. Let me do some research into that right now. And that's why yes, that's why we know that she scores the way she does, because she has heterozygous gene type in all of the EDAR variations. She's got one East Asian allele in all the three variations that have to do with East Asian morphology in EDAR, and because of that, she scores these kinds of Métis or partially East Eurasian phenotypes. The thing is, my phenotype oracle, it takes into account only the SNPs that have to do with facial morphology. It's not an ethnicity oracle, it's a facial morphology oracle. So if it only takes into account SNPs that have to do with facial morphology, such as EDAR, for example. So, like, if you have heterozygous gene type in EDAR, you most likely will score something like this for your facial morphology oracle. So that explains it. That explains why she's scoring these types of groups in her results. Very, very interesting. Okay, let's look what she scores for the biomarkers panel. That's definitely going to be quite interesting to see. Looks like she's got below average levels of vitamin D. Unfortunate. Looks like she's got above average levels of LDL cholesterol. Typical stuff. Below average levels of HDL. Really good stuff. Actually, not good. That's not good at all. Above average levels of glucose. Above average levels of hemoglobin. High blood pressure. Unfortunate. Low levels of iron. Um, average level of sex hormone binding globulin. Below average level of red blood cell count. And something that's actually good that I'm seeing is above average number of telomere base pairs, which is really good to see. Longer telomere base pairs, higher lifespan, higher biological lifespan. Really good to see. Let's see the polygenic risk scores right now, and looks like she's got a way below the average odds of age-related macular degeneration. She's got below average odds for rheumatoid arthritis. She's got a above average odds for Tourette's. She's got a above average odds for epilepsy. She's got a average odds for asthma. She's got a high odds for leukemia. She's got pretty much average odds for vitiligo. She's got average odds for myopia. She's got average odds for primary biliary cirrhosis. She's got average odds for stroke. She's got average odds for male pattern hair loss. She's got pretty much slightly below average odds for atrial fibrillation. She's got pretty much slightly below average odds for deep vein thrombosis. She's got very high odds for bipolar type 1. Actually, incredibly high. This is among the highest scores for bipolar type 1 that I've seen so far. Very surprising. Wasn't expecting that. She's got a high score for schizophrenia. Quite surprising. I was not expecting that. She's got a um, high score for type 2 diabetes. She's got a below average score for type 1 diabetes. She's got below average score for Alzheimer's. She's got a slightly below average score for multiple sclerosis. For breast cancer, she's got 6 risk variants for breast cancer out of 12. For testicular cancer, she's got a 12 risk variants out of 18, and she's got only one risk variant in in the keto G gene, which is actually kind of good. So I'd say she's even a little bit protected from testicular cancer based on this, because for Europeans and West Asians in general, it's typical to have two risk variants out of two for the variants in keto G. For celiac disease section, looks like she's got one risk variant for celiac disease out of 10, no risk variants for GSS, 7 risk variants for Crohn's out of 18. I'm not going to look those up. No risk variants for Parkinson's, 4 risk variants for Gilbert out of 6 total. Wow. And no risk variants for basal cell carcinoma. Very, very interesting. Okay. Let's see the monogenic traits and we'll be done there. Looks like she's got heterozygous genotype in Combs-Valmet variation, but she's got warrior genotype in MAOA, so she's definitely more of a warrior than a warrior. Looks like she's got actually intermediate number of dopamine D2 receptor sites in the brain. Uh, Interesting. Looks like she's got a gene TAC1, which is definitely very interesting. So she has this A1 allele in TAC1, which is implicated in a decreased number of D2 dopamine receptor sites in the brain, and increased likelihood of stuff like alcoholism, Parkinson's, ADHD. Very surprising stuff. Um, she does not have long form 5-HTTL-PR, so she's got short form 5-HTTL-PR and a slightly increased risk of depression. She's got a predisposition to intermediate odds of autism. She's got um, typical or higher levels of indoleacetate. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. It's essentially a tryptophan derivative, and it's linked to like protection from depression. She does not carry the European lactose persistence mutation. She's predisposed to average levels of empathy, which is really good to see. Okay. For diabetes, we already saw her polygenic risk score for that. She has a predisposition to type 2 diabetes, but she is sort of protected from type 1 diabetes. We already saw that. For multiple sclerosis, we already saw she's sort of protected from multiple sclerosis. That's quite good. For cardiovascular issues, she's got a predisposition to intermediate odds of cardiovascular issues. Really good to see. Okay, for myopia panel, she does have the G allele here, which protects from myopia. For vitiligo panel, I'm gonna predict that on her HLA gene panel, she's gonna have some risk variants for HLA. She's gonna have some kind of a bad or unhealthy genotype for HLA, but I'm not sure. We're gonna find out. Doesn't have micropenis. She's got better performing muscles, likely sprinter rather than endurance athlete. No fat gene variants, and FTOs RS 9939 not predisposed to obesity. 2 variants for increased pain sensitivity in SCN9A, which is very surprising. Risk of heart failures due to beta blocker medications is essentially average, which is really good to see. Um, Alcoholism panel, risk of alcoholism is essentially average. She's got 2 genotypes which increase the risk of leukemia. Okay. 2 APOB risk variants for familial hypercholesteremia out of 4 total. So she definitely does need to watch her lipid levels. And for HLA gene panel, looks like I was wrong. Looks like she does not have a predisposition to HLA risks. Looks like she's got a predisposition to lower odds of autoimmune disease. Indeed, she does not have any um, thing to worry about when it comes to HLA gene. She's got a predisposition to protective variants from HIV, so she doesn't have to worry about. Well, I mean, protective variants from this, like when it comes to HIV protection, it's like instead of getting AIDS in like 9 months, it might delay it by like 3 years or like 4 years instead. So you might get AIDS in 4 years or 5 years, and you might the disease might progress a little bit later at a slower pace, but it's still a deadly disease. So these protective variants, they this reduction in HIV viral load, of course, it's really good to have, but don't take it as if like you're protected completely from HIV, because that's certainly not the case. Nobody is protected from HIV. Nobody at all. For muscular dystrophy myopathies, looks like no risk variance for any of the variations that I look for. No variance for ADL. For color blindness panel, no risk variance for color blindness in OPN1LW or SW. For FTO gene panel, no risk variance for obesity in any of the variants I look for. For syncope panel, based on free SNPs, her risk for syncope is actually quite above average. Very interesting to see. For bio traits panel, looks like she's got 2 copies of the hunter-gatherer CLT-CL1 gene variant, which leads to a reduced ability to process carbs and sugars. And for vitamins and levels, I don't even know if I want to talk about this, to be honest. For blood group panel, looks like her predicted blood type is type A or type B. It's kind of difficult to predict. The only thing we can say for sure is that it's probably not type O. So it's most likely type A, but it could also be type B. But it is probably not type O. That's the one thing we can say with any degree of certainty. Unfortunately, there is just not much data in this file, and there is not much certainty with these genotypes to be able to accurately determine the blood type. Well, that's pretty much all that I wanted to say for this video for this individual. Thanks for watching my video until the very end. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Um, I hope you enjoyed it. And of course, leave a comment. Anything you want to mention, anything you want to add. Maybe I missed something. Maybe you want to talk about something. Make sure it's relevant, of course, relevant to the topic. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.